Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Matters of the Heart and Soul podcast. This is Janie and Russell, and welcome back.
Hey, everybody out there.
All right, so today, guys, we're talking about living life and living life with no regrets and why this topic is important. Okay, Russell and I, we've been having a lot of conversations about just living presently, living in the moment, and no regrets. And so, one of the conversations we had, I was telling him that, if I was to transition tomorrow, I have absolutely no regrets. I'm completely satisfied with life, with how I live life, with the relationships I've created, my siblings, my parents, my purpose, my service, work, all of that. So we want to bring that conversation out, so other people can start thinking about that. Because I do pose the question, if you were to transition tomorrow, are you satisfied? Are you completely satisfied? And when I think about that, I have so much peace in answering that, so much peace. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So, Russell, I'm going to throw it to you about living with no regrets. First of all, why is this important to know no matter what age you are? You know?
Right. So when we talked about the topic, it just reminded me of a quote I posted before of Socrates. It says, "The unexamined life is not worth living." And a lot of you may have heard it, but I looked deeper off into it. He actually said that when he was on trial and they were about to execute him. And it was because he was waking the youth up, by spreading like philosophy, like wisdom, things of that nature, kind of like Christ did, right? And the powers that be didn't like it. So you have this situation where a lot of people just drift through life, right? We see a lot of people, we know people, right, who they just get up every day, go to work, unfulfilled. They don't like the work they do. They go home, watch television, eat bad food, and they just repeat for 40, 50 years, and they call that a life. That's not a life. You're just existing, right? And, even the scarier part is many people never really find out their true purpose or really even who they are at the core.
Yeah. And I think it's important to evaluate, to examine your life, from experience to experience, relationship to relationship. Don't just go from one thing to the next and never examine. That's so important, because that's how you gain the wisdom. That's how you gain the wisdom from your experiences. And then another question is, how do you want others to remember you? What is your legacy? There's so many things to consider as legacy. Okay. Of course, your assets, that you want to leave behind to your family and your friends. But what else? What else? What else do you want to leave and you want others to remember you by? Is it the service to humanity that you gave? Is it the love you gave? Or is it, the turmoil you gave? What is it that you want others to remember you by?
And that's a great question, right? Because they say the only thing you can take when you transition from this physical reality back to the spirit realm is, only thing you can put in that proverbial bag is love and the precious memories that you shared.
Yeah.
The people who are left behind, that's what they remember. They remember the love you shared with them, and they remember the precious memories. But unfortunately, we have some people who, we let people pass, and, we hadn't reached out to them, or the last time we reached out to them or seen them, we walked away without telling them that we love them. And, that kind of haunts a lot of people. They hold on to it and they were like, well, I didn't get a chance to tell them that I loved them or what I thought about them. So, this message goes out to everybody. It's like, if you have loved ones, especially like say parents, children, like I never get off the phone with family members, loved ones, without letting them know that I love them. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So my grandparents, my parents, my brother, anybody that was close to me, my last conversation with them, every single one of them, I told them that I love them.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes me feel good because I don't have those regrets. And I hear other people that have those regrets. So knowing that, I'd say this to everybody out there, don't wait to test that theory, because you have a lot of people who, they really have a tough time because they let people transition and they were holding little petty grudges, being unforgiven or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
we're here to love, right? So we say God is love, and that's what we're here to experience. So what Janie was sharing is saying that if she did transition, that she's fulfilled. I feel the same way, and it's because one is we didn't give up on love. We both been in relationships, marriages, and we didn't give up on love. We kept trying until we got it right, and we're at a position now where we really feel that we got it right because we're at the highest of the highs as far as relationships in our lives, right? And I have two children that I love deeply. My mother, we connected very deeply, as far as her loving me and me loving her. And that to me made life worth living. You know what I mean? And a lot of people are caught up in this world more so from a material aspect. They want the big house, they want the cars, they want the fame, they want all the trinkets, they want the spouse or the certain girlfriend or boyfriend because they think that it's going to give them a certain feeling. So what they're searching for is a feeling, and that feeling is love, joy, peace. They're looking for it in it. And a lot of times we see these people reach these highs in the material world, right? They have all these material things and they're miserable on the inside because they feel unfulfilled. And then they start turning to things like drugs and sex and all kind of other like debauchery, trying to fulfill a void that you can only feel through love. And that love starts by loving yourself and connecting with the Most High. And can't make it any simpler than that. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, and that's what our book is really about. A lot of people think our book is about, this is a shameless plug, but a lot of people think that this book is about me and Janie's love story. And it's like, there is a very small chapter in there where we talk about it, but that's not what it's about. It's really about you falling in love with yourself, and understanding that, internalizing God within yourself and falling in love with yourself, because you cannot give to somebody that you don't possess within yourself. Like you can't go to an apple tree to get oranges.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like you have to learn how to fall in love with yourself, and you can only meet somebody else at the deepest level that you meet yourself. So once you're able to fall in love with yourself deeply, and able to live with yourself at a deeper level, then and only then can you experience that kind of love with another person, whether it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, uh, just co-workers, friends, any kind of relationships. So it's like, and that's what we're talking about. So we want to go out of here without leaving anything on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to say something
I was
because I
just
could keep
gonna
going.
I was just gonna say that it's also this you're a soul, okay? You're a soul, and then you're given a body, all right, to come into this dimension to do things, whether it is to learn a lesson, whether it is to give and receive love, to exchange that, to experience emotions, to know what it feels like to be happy, to be sad, to be up, to be down. Because when you're in a body, you could do it easily. You could learn lessons faster, right? When you're just spirit, it's hard to do that. It's hard to really feel that when you're not in a body, okay? So I want everybody to know that the journey is also about remembering. You are already love. You are already peace. You are already joy. You are already anything you desire to be. You are already it. You have to remember that you are it. And so that's important because we forget, right? We get into the body and the veil of forgetfulness comes on and we forget. And we look out and we see the lack, right? The lack that other people have, the lack of this, the lack of that. And then we start to feel that in ourselves. But that's not who we are. We are already complete. So the journey is also remembering, right? And when you come into that full remembrance, you could express that and live that out loud because that is who you are. And that's why Russell's like, we leave nothing behind because we know who we are. We've remembered who we are. We came into this life remembered, and now we can freely express it. Right. So I just want everybody to know that it's a process of remembering. Right. And because we're not just here to argue about politics, work a job your whole life and not enjoy it, not to have strife between you and your family and your siblings. I also recommend, clear those unresolved issues, clear them. Make that phone call, write that letter. If you don't want to call somebody, write that letter. Because remember, forgiveness is not about the other person. It's about your soul. It's about healing the fragments of your soul, right? And forgiveness sometimes don't even require conversation, but it is understanding that I have this fragment, I have this issue of the heart with this other person, and I need to figure out how to resolve it. You don't always have to talk to that person, but you got to figure out how to heal that, clear that, right? So I do recommend, heal those unresolved issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah. And once again, that forgiveness is for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's one reason why you don't have to go to that person to really forgive them. If you can, cool. But if not, it's really for yourself. Forgiveness is for your soul. So deep down inside, if you've forgiven somebody, and you cleared that, then you're good, right? You're not carrying that extra weight. And another thing I was thinking about is, even thinking about the unexamined life, right? I've spoken to relatives who are up in age or some that were even terminal, right? And one of the things I always like to ask them, if you had a chance to do this all over again, what would you do? And, you'd be surprised. And so many people, you could even go online and look. So many people have had this conversation. A lot of people, their biggest regret is what they did with their time.
Mm-hmm.
Like they may have felt that they worked entirely too much and neglected their family members and loved ones, and they didn't really pursue the things that made their souls happy.
Yeah.
And they really weren't aligned with their purpose, right? So they have those regrets. So knowing that, right, it's like over the years, I always tried to form my life around that. Like, how do I want my life to flow, and do I want to live with those regrets? And the answer is no. So, and Janie talks about this a lot as well. It's like you have to do things with purpose. And if it's not aligned with your purpose, your line of work, your business, your relationships, it's a waste of time. And we need to start concentrating more on spending our time doing things that are pushing us forward, pushing it into our purpose, and, and aligning all this stuff, right? Because we see so many people that you tend to work towards your quota and not your potential. So many people are not living up to their potential. They're just living for their quota to get by. Yeah. and just existing.
Yeah. And we've interviewed a few people on the podcast who've had near-death experiences. And and I've even researched a lot of them, listened to a lot of the stories, and a lot of what's common amongst a lot of them is that one, it's all love, on the spiritual side of things, but that is important while you're here to give and receive love, right? That's what's important. Sometimes you are here on a mission, because sometimes you're here to help awaken others to things, right? That the whole body of humanity as a whole level of consciousness is not ready for, and you are here before your time, like they say, right? But you'll see the same things in people who have had near death experiences. So it's like, live presently, right? Live presently, live for today, right? Protect the people that you love, right? When you're not here, you have to also plan for when you're not here. So do the planning. I think there's also a stigma around not wanting to talk about, transitioning or what's to happen or when you're no longer here. I think we have to plan. You have to create financial planning for your family, your kids. That's legacy, right? It's all about how you want to be remembered. Do you want complete instructions for your kids? Do you want to leave them books to read? Do you want them to, achieve college graduation before they get access to whatever, financial asset that you're going to leave them behind? Leave specific instructions. This is how we keep the wisdom in our families. This is how we keep things for the next generations. This is how we keep generational wealth. Is so much to it, and I do believe that we are here so that our children's children's children can be blessed. It's not just about us. And that's what I said. It gets to the point where life is about service. When you know who you are, you have remembered it's about service. It really is.
Yeah, and that made me think of something we were also discussing, because we're talking about estate planning and going through all that stuff, right? Is the ethical will.
Yes.
And that's like what you were saying, leave them a booklet, audio, a video, something, like just leaving them instructions or really a heartfelt message. And my mother left me one. I don't think she had any idea how valuable it would be for me today. Is, and some of you may have heard it, I played it online, just telling me, what she thought of me, that she loved me. And it's like, I just think that it's beautiful. She's been gone, her and my brother. I lost both of them in 2009, but I could still hear her voice telling me that she loved me because she recorded it.
Yeah. And your kids could see it, and their kids could see it, and their kids, they may never, well, they won't meet her, right, physically, but they'll be able to hear her voice. They'll see how, what she said and all those things. So we really underestimate what legacy really is. Even I recommend leaving a genealogy chart, having that in a secure place so that your kids and grandkids, they will clearly know. We've had to do the research, right? We've had to do the research for ourselves, but it's like, now that we are creating that path, paving that way, these are the things that we could go ahead and do and leave. And so all the generations behind can do it, and the instructions on what to do with it, So
yeah, and that touches on something I mentioned earlier, like having a true knowledge of self, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, the best thing you could do right now is go on Family Search, Ancestry.com or whatever. If you do not know past your grandparents, like some people don't even know that much, find out who your great grandparents were and your great, as far as you could go, and you'd be surprised what that does for you spiritually. Because you come from a line of ancestors, and it's like their journey, a lot of it's documented with government records, right? And so many people I see today online arguing about things that they can't even validate, right? And it's like, by me doing my own, I realized that the history we were told in school, it has a lot of errors. And I think a lot of it was done intentionally, because there's some things I could prove beyond a shadow of doubt with paper trails, right? But anyway, but know who you are from a physical standpoint, know who you are from a spiritual standpoint. And once you really know that, right, because this is something else we talked about, I had said before, years back, once I really came into the knowledge of enlightenment of who I really am, that if I died and came back 100 times, I would want to come back as me. And it's not that I'm in love with my physical frame or anything like that. It's who I am spiritually. It's
Mm-hmm.
because when you wake up and realize that you're a spiritual being having a temporary physical experience that you call life, and that you're really connected, you're really truly connected to the greater spirit, which is God, and how you're connected, there's nothing else anybody could tell me. Fear goes away. You realize that that energetic body follows the same rules of energy. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It just moves and changes shape and form, meaning you always were, you always will be.
Yep.
Your spirit is an eternal entity that's connected to the Most High. And once you realize that, fear is gone. So it's like you
Yes.
have no fear of death. You know, you're cautious, but you have no fear of death. You're not running to it, and you could live life more boldly.
Exactly. Because, with no fear, you could live every single day, and that's what's so important. You have anything else?
Yeah, we can go on forever, but I think we gave them some good information from our heart, right?
Yeah, I think so. And guys, we, look around. The world is changing. Okay, it's changing. Since 2020, it has not gone back. It's not going back. It's changing. It's rapidly changing. We're in a big transformation. People are changing. Just the systems are changing, right? Everything's changing. So I just recommend that you do a check. You ask yourself the hard questions. If I was to transition tomorrow, am I satisfied? Am I completely satisfied? Have I lived in purpose and intention and in love and in peace and in service? Have I really done those things? Because things are not going back. And I know that people are awakening right now. Your DNA is coming on board. I know it is. I get the calls, I get the messages. I know you're not alone. Okay. You can always reach out to me and Russell because we've been through a big transformation. We've been through a spiritual awakening. We know what that's like, and it's a massive process. So you're not alone, and there's a lot of other people that's going on, but that's happening. But when it happens, people feel like it's just them. So we want you to know you are not alone. There's a lot of people out here that's going through it. But keep surrendering, keep choosing love, and keep choosing evolution, and you'll get through it.
Yeah, and don't live the unexamined life. Live the examined life.
Exactly. Yeah.
Look more critically into things, and we need to learn how to talk to each other for understanding and not just to be right. Because I see so many sickening things going on right now, especially online. That's why I don't get involved, because if you want to talk, I would love to do a podcast. That way we could have understanding, we could dialogue. But the little cyber gangster stuff that people do just kind of puts more fuel on the fire, and nothing ever gets accomplished. But, like she said, a lot of things are changing. This world as we know it is changing.
It's
And right
changing.
now, we all are going to play a part, whether it's going to take a change for the good or for the worse.
And it's a call. It's a call to level up in your mind, okay, in your thinking, in your emotions, because that's why we're seeing so much mental health now. We're not just in a consciousness, which is an awareness of just the physical. We are now moving up into the mental, emotional, and spiritual. So that's why so much mental health is going on, because we are having to look at the thoughts that's been creating our lives this whole time. And the truth is, we created this. Everything that's just blown up and going crazy, we as a body of humanity created. So it doesn't matter what your personal beliefs are, that's you. But if you want to see change, it's going to require collaboration. It's going to require understanding, unity, and peace. I don't care what's your nationality, what's your political status. It doesn't matter. We're going to have to come together because it's only going to get worse. And the people who are still stuck in that old paradigm and that old programming, it is falling. It is coming to an end. It is time to create something new. Okay, it's time to create something new.
Yeah, and if the easiest way to find out whether or not you're on track, if it's not aligned with nature, if it's not aligned with natural law,
yeah,
it's not real.
If you have to wake up in the morning and you have to argue about what's happening outside of you, then something is out of balance
on the inside of you.
Yeah. And we talk about this because I can't go to my neighbor's house and start changing stuff in their home. No, I'm going to clean my home. I'm going to organize my home. I'm going to make sure my home is good. Right. So if each individual human being organize their self, their mind, their body, their spirit, their home, their children, their relationship, when we look up, we're going to all be so much better, right? Because individual healing leads to collective healing. We cannot go out there and clean and heal somebody else's house and we not start in our own house.
Preach.
So start with yourself, start with your own thoughts, your own healing, your own mind, your own body, your own spirit. Okay. We gotta, like they say, sweep around your own front door.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when there's no enemy on the inside, there's no enemy on the outside that can harm.
So true. So true. And that's where you'll find the peace. And guess what? The more people that's living, embodying, I mean, truly living in that peace, not just talking about it, but living it, making a conscious commitment to, you know what, I'm gonna make sure my family and my people are good. I'm gonna sweep around my front door. I'm gonna check my emotions and my thoughts and my spirit. The more people that we get like that, you will gradually see a complete change. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, because the law of polarity is the law of polarity. There has to be up and down, black and white, hot and cold. That's just what it is. That maintains the balance. But I think that you'll be able to ride the waves better. You'll be able to create what you want versus just being swayed by what's happening outside of you. That's no control. That's really no way to live, because it puts you in fight or flight.
Yeah, because we're all needed. We all play a pivotal role in the great change that's about to occur.
Oh, it's already here.
And you just got to think of this big jigsaw puzzle that has 8 billion pieces in it. All of us are intricate and complete. So
yeah. Make the shifts, because love is brave. Love is also doing the hard things. Love is saying the hard things. You just have to say it in love and do it in love. But sometimes I tell people not doing anything or not making a decision is like having your foot on the gas and the brake at the same time. You don't go anywhere. You're stuck. You're there. So make the decisions, make the shift, make the decision, do the thing, right? So that you could move forward. But if you're just stuck, then you're just stuck. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah. And just to sum it up, it's like, be bold, be brave, be loving, be kind, be gentle, and live life with no regrets.
And that's the kind of world you're going to create for yourself. And that's heaven on earth. And you're going to see that and you're going to live that now, today. So that's it. Anything else, Russell?
That's it.
All right. Guys, it's been another episode of Matters of the Heart and Soul podcast. We appreciate you always. This podcast is all about awakening humanity to everything that is already within. We already have it within us. We just have to remember it and awaken to it. Okay. So if you have any questions, reach out to us. Please like, subscribe, and share. We appreciate you guys. If you want to connect with us, collaborate, let us know. And until then, we will catch you guys next time.
Peace.
All right. Take care.